I am so glad you are here. It is Energy Sunday in my world, and I thought we could talk a little Reiki energy today, as is so often my want. And the reason is because I'm super excited because the next Reiki 2 class is coming up, and I don't teach that as often as I teach Reiki 1 because I want people to have time to let the information absorb between Reiki 1 and Reiki 2, and I want a slightly larger group for Reiki 2, which works beautifully. I love teaching Reiki 2. Reiki 2 is where you start to learn some of the specific sounds, symbols, and other techniques of practicing Reiki beyond just being attuned to the energy generally and getting to more or less play with it on yourself, on your family members, your friends, that kind of thing, your pets, your plants for that matter. Even your meals can be Reiki'd. At level 2, you're starting to get the symbols and the names associated with the symbols, among other things, as well as the Reiki 2 attunements, and then an opportunity to practice what you've just learned so that you can start to let that information really sink in. Here you're getting the majority of the symbols that Usui Reiki offers. Are there others? There are tons of others. You need only pick up any reasonably modern book on Reiki and flip through it, and I promise you, you will see symbols that are not part of the original Reiki symbolism. Some of them are variants. Some of them are clearly not. They're clearly brand new. Somebody was inspired. Somebody was gained through their practice or meditation that this symbol for them works again and again and again. They present it to their students, and their students find it to be valuable. That's how those Reiki symbols tend to expand, and I think that that's healthy. They're coming from the ground up, the practitioner finding something useful, sharing it, and then other people going on to use that symbol because they find it useful, teaching it, and it spreads from there. I think that's the right way to do that kind of work personally, because then you know it's tested by at least some folks by the time it gets to you. But here at Reiki 2nd, we're learning those symbols, we're putting them into practice, we're hearing those terms and putting those into practice. At Reiki 1, we just learned the energy. Now we're learning the nuts and bolts, really, and we're getting a little deeper about where Reiki goes, how Reiki goes, what those symbols are used for, and when it's appropriate to use them beyond when you have that gut feeling. When you have that gut feeling, what is it telling you based on the symbol that you have the urge to do in your practice for the person you're doing Reiki with, whether it's yourself or someone else? So you draw the symbol that's most tied to emotional and psychological healing, and now maybe you're going to have a conversation with them about that's the symbol that I felt the urge to draw the most. Are you working your way through something right now, maybe from your past, or are you in the end of something, the end of a relationship, the end of a job or career, I don't know, children leaving home, anything along those lines could evoke strong emotional responses that need to be worked through, or something from the past that you're now healthy enough to deal with is starting to bubble up to the surface because we spent a lot of time on that symbol in Reiki, most often connected to emotional healing. The answer, if you're drawing the one that's most often connected to distance healing, which you can use right there when the person's right with you, because we're not just talking about the distance in space, but also the distance in time. So perhaps something from their past is coming up, or something that is a generational wound is coming up, and they're needing to work through their feelings about that generational wound now. Then maybe you're going to be getting that long distance symbol again and again and again as part of the work that you're doing with that person. And that's important to note. So I love it when people get to expand into that working, and we get to start to play with some more depth in Reiki. So I'm so excited that that's coming up. So I wanted to talk about it. And just to cover my bases, Reiki 3 for me. Now my lineage is pretty short for an American. This was my Reiki 3. It was a one-on-one class at my instructor's house. We had a cup of tea. We talked about ethics. There were several really good questions about ethics that prompted several conversations. And then I was given the master teacher attunements, and that was it, boys and girls. If it took 2 hours, I'd be surprised. It was just, a little afternoon tea with my instructor. It was delightful. She was a wonderful Usui Reiki teacher and taught a very bare bones approach. Now I've got someone else who's thinking about coming in and taking over the Reiki classes here, which I'm very enthusiastic for and excited about, because as much as I love teaching Reiki and love doing Reiki, I love for other people to come in and be experts too. So we have a possibility of a delightful woman named Mary coming in and teaching these classes. She's more modern in her training, and she's more modern in how she trains as a result of how she was trained. She hands out tons of paper. And I love that about her. It's a big difference between the way I was taught and the way she was taught. She was given a lot of paper. I took notes. I still have they're not even really notebooks. They are 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper folded in half and saddle stapled for the binding that I wrote my notes in. And those are my notes from my original Reiki class. The first 2 in particular with Giovanna. I have a few notes from Reiki 3, but very few. The master teacher symbol. There's very little in Reiki 3 beyond that discussion of ethics and the attunement, I'm happy to say. So that in mind, I hope if you're ready for your Reiki 2, you're thinking about joining us, go to the events page on the QR code if you're seeing that, or the website, and find our events page there and you can sign up. But either way, sign up. I'm just so excited to be teaching Reiki 2 at the end of the month. Have a fantastic day, you folks, and blessed be.